been training my algorithm blocking a lot more, and my following on TikTok and YouTube has gotten way better. I've been a regular poster for my business on social media for a little over 2 years now, and I learned this early and I forgot it until I was reminded by another creator recently that while trolls boosted my engagement and got more views, it also meant that I just got more comments from people who are not interested in learning more about my research or my business. They're not going to be research partnerships for me. A lot of them don't do research, let me tell you. They're not going to be future clients and customers. And so it is engagement, but it is not engagement that serves the purpose of this page. It is not people who even benefit from an activism or an education standpoint because they don't want to hear it. They just want to argue and be triggered. And I realized that early, and then I stopped doing it because I do have a deep value about being around people who disagree with you and intentionally trying to get out of an echo chamber. I've also been transparent on here. I am one of 2 people in my family who is not conservative, Christian, American. My half-sister and I, we are the only ones who have never voted for Donald Trump, like all of that. And I'm very pro having difficult conversations and getting out of your echo chamber. And yet, since this is a business page, this is not my personal, I don't have personal social media anymore, it's not serving its purpose. This isn't where I get my news. This isn't where I have real conversations. I have met some wonderful people via this app, not just clients, but like friends. But all the meaningful conversations we have usually happen in DMs and on other like means of communication. It's not in public comments trolling. So yes, I see people here all the time talk about, oh, this person blocks anyone who disagrees with them. And I just want to let y'all know, like, I will be blocking anyone who is here being a troll. And that does include people who are just trying to undermine my expertise. I don't claim to be right about everything. Hell, I just pulled a book over, editing issues. If you're coming in my comments, like I get this more on YT than TikTok with, well, you claim to have a doctorate or da-da-da-da. I'm like, no, you're not someone I'm interested in working with, even if you are a business owner or seeking coaching. Like, why would I partner with someone who, even if they pay for my expertise, doesn't want it? That just doesn't seem beneficial for either of us. So that will be happening. And I want to make this a larger point about careers, as I almost always do. As I talk about here a lot, I worked through my Ph.D., which is unusual and not recommended, but I had to financially. And I remember at one point checking in with my Ph.D. advisor and, telling her about a boundary that I had set at work. And she was like, oh, Anna, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud you are finally learning how to set boundaries. And I told her, I was like, well, it's because I'm high up enough now that I feel like I can. I couldn't before. And she respected that. She was like, okay, that's fair. But now that it's been several years and I've been researching the unwritten rules of work for over a decade now, and I've been working with people all over the world and in all kinds of industries, I have learned, especially as a class researcher, that there are ways to set boundaries when you're earlier in your career. It requires a lot of skill and nuance and a lot of effort. But these are things that middle class and higher kids are taught how to do that first generation and working class kids are not. Doesn't mean they will always be respected. There are going to be predators everywhere. There's going to be toxic workplaces everywhere. But it's part of the game to know how to do these things. And I never did that. Again, out of like a moral high ground of valuing hard work and being willing to be the martyr instead of saying no. And I don't see that as necessarily a moral failing of mine because I literally didn't know how to do that. But that is something I work with a lot of my clients on now, is setting those boundaries earlier. I would say at least 70% of the people who come to me for coaching are leaving a toxic workplace and getting ready to go into a next one and wanting to not repeat the same harm. And that's what we work on, is how do you walk in with a smile on your face and collaborative, but with a hell fucking no, ready to go in a polite, professional way. Because once those boundaries are violated, it is so hard to put them back in place without being a troublemaker. It's possible, but it's difficult. Anyway, I'm just reminiscing on that. I wanted to share that tidbit as I was nervous to start blocking people because I was like, oh, is this going to hurt my engagement? Is this going to be... It has had the opposite. It has actually skyrocketed my engagement, like for what is normal for me. I know I'm not like a major influencer. And it's because it's finding people who actually want my work, who need my work, and who are ready to accept it. And that is why I put so many hours into my social media pages. That is the point of it for me. And that is also what happened at work when I started setting boundaries was I started aligning it. No, I wasn't a piece of cake for everyone. I wasn't going to be a fit for every organization, but I started being able to say no and work with people who were less toxic and abusive. Because I didn't give off abuse me written on my forehead, which is not your fault. It is never your fault that someone else is abusive. Part of healing is also not repeatedly putting yourself in situations where you know it's going to be bad. So, food for thought. Boundaries are scary because there's this narrative that is pushed, because people who are abusers never ever want you to set boundaries. They're always going to be upset. The only people who want you to not have boundaries are the people who will violate them. And so there's this scary narrative about, don't you do it, don't you do it. You do it and it ends up being okay.